Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show. It is episode number 18. In this show, we're going to finish the two-part series from the last show. Where do I get the money to invest? You're going to hear about a surprise source of money that some of us just have sitting around. Let's get back to it.
Welcome to the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show, where you will learn about investing, the power of real estate investing, and how to invest in it. Whether you have the time or even if you don't, you're going to see it's attainable either way. And now your host, who always wants to share knowledge with you, Christopher Balcom.
I bet you didn't know that you could use your retirement account to invest in real estate. If you listened to the last show, episode 16, where I had Damian Lupo on as a guest, then you're probably well aware that you can use your retirement accounts to invest in things besides those small amount of mutual funds or stock-like investments that you're given a list of to trust your retirement to. So let's talk about that a bit more here. So a 401k, a lot of us have 401ks or 403bs if you work for maybe an educator or a nonprofit or similar. So 401k or 403b. I may say 401k, but consider that term interchangeably with 403b. So you may have a 401k or again a 403b. Those that are left over at prior employers, typically, you can roll those dollars into wherever you want. You can't just withdraw them and go to the mall, but you can take the funds that are there and roll all of it over to something that gives you more control. What is that something? We'll get to that in just a moment. So what if you don't have a 401k or 403b that was left over at a prior employer? If you have a 401k, 403b from your current employer, there should be a servicer, and there should be a servicer for the prior one that you may have left over too. Some of the ones that service are Fidelity and Nationwide, and there's some other type of financial institutions. It's usually not the employer itself because that's not their chief business. Their business is probably the reason that you work there. They either provide some type of service or provide some type of product, but their business is not providing expertise on financial investments or retirement. So they usually outsource that out to a financial institution. So I said Fidelity, Nationwide, there's many others out there, but some other type of financial institution. And you can find out who it is by contacting your HR department typically, or you should get a statement, maybe quarterly. You should get a statement. It'll have a name on there. And that name is typically not your employer, but the name of the financial institution that's managing the retirement plans for your employer. So it's important to know who that is because that's who you're going to contact for questions about options that their 401k or 403b offers you. Not your employer, not your supervisor, not a peer at your employer, not a coworker at your employer. You're going to contact that financial institution because they're going to know exactly what the options are that are available to you. Usually these options are set up or selected by your employer, but the financial institution will have all of the details and tell you what's available, what's not available. So there's something called a rollover, and a rollover allows you to move the funds from one plan, such as your existing or current 401k, 403b, to another plan. A plan, in this case, that gives you a whole lot more control. Now, a rollover is also used if you leave one employer and go to the next. You can roll over the funds from the prior 401k to the current 401k account, so you can kind of manage things all in one place. One statement, one account to look at. You can see all of your retirement funds in one place. So in either case, the 401k, 403b, whether it's with the current employer or prior employer, with the prior employer, you should be able to roll over those funds to something else, to a different plan. With the current employer, check with that provider, that financial institution that's on the statement, and ask them if you can roll over some of your funds to a account of your liking. It can't be your checking account. It can't be your savings account. It can't be a withdrawal at the ATM, but to another retirement plan, another type of retirement plan. Now, they're probably not going to allow you to roll over all of it, but you may be able to roll over a portion of it. And that portion of it might just be enough to invest in something else or invest in a real estate asset. Now you're going to do a rollover to something that you have more control of, an account that you have more control of. It's all about control because this is your retirement. Why should you be left to choose from the 5, 10, maybe 15 mutual funds or stock-ish like investments that are available to you by your employer or by the financial institution that manages the retirement plan for your employer? It's your retirement. Why should you be left to invest in that small selection of everything that's available in the world to invest in? You're just left to these few items here that they offer to you. What if you wanted to invest in something more? So an IRA provides that. This isn't the ultimate control that we'll get to, but just to break down the options. So 401k, 403b gives you little control, little options to invest in. You get those 5, 10, 15 mutual funds or stockish like investments that you can choose from. And hopefully all that works out, and when time comes to retire, you'll have enough to retire. So you get those options there. And then there's the IRA. So when you call that financial institution to understand what options you have for a rollover, more often than not, they're going to ask you about rolling over some of your retirement funds to an IRA that they offer. So for 401k, 403b was little control, little options. An IRA or the IRA they will offer you typically will be little control, but more options. It does open up more of the stock market to you to invest in. So with the 401k, 403b, it just had those few mutual funds or stockish like investments. The IRA does offer the stock market for you to invest in. So it's a much larger investment selection. So that's a good thing, right? Well, it could be. The stock market certainly has its pros, its cons. There's a large investment selection. There's all different types of organizations and companies you can invest in. And it's possibly you can do well there. One of the cons of the stock market is volatility. It goes up and down based on no data, no facts. It just goes up and down based on speculation or assumptions or the thoughts of one or more people or organizations or banks. So there's a lot of volatility there. The other con would be you're investing in something that you are very remote to in terms of control. So investing in a large organization, for example, you are very far removed from how that business operates, the decisions that they make, why they make those decisions, how those decisions might affect you as the investor or that company or that organization's customers. So you're very far removed. And maybe you don't necessarily want to be a part of that company and make the decisions and have control, but you are investing your dollars, and the decisions they make could have great ramifications on you. And not just you, this is your retirement we're talking about right now potentially. So whether it's dollars you have free just to invest in the stock market, or in this case, whether it's your retirement, this investment you're placing is a portion of you and your family's future in terms of finances. So you might want to know a little bit more about what's going on and why they're doing it and have a little bit more understanding of that business. So a 401k, 403b was little control, little options. IRA is little control, but more options to invest in, larger investment selection. Then self-directed solo 401k is way more control and way more options. So what would you roll over the 401k, the 403b, the IRA to if the financial institution allows it? And you need to check into this. Don't just think that, they probably won't let me do it or probably can't do it. You need to go ask. This is that important that you need to contact them. The prior employer's financial institution, if you had a 401k, 403b left over somewhere else, or the current 401k, 403b at your current employer, you need to contact that plan manager, that financial institution, to see what options you have available. It's that important. And the longer you wait, the more the years go by, the closer you get to retirement age. And what you need at that time may not be available to you. The funds you need just may or may not be there. So take control, do it now. So self-directed IRA, Solo K, we haven't talked about those. And also just a QRP, Qualified Retirement Plan. We talked about that some in the last show with Damian Lupo. What are these options? Well, it's all about control. A self-directed IRA, a Solo K, a QRP, this account can hold a variety of investments outside your typical stocks or bonds or mutual funds. You can choose just about any type of investment, including real assets like we talked about in the last show. It could be real estate, it could be gold, it could be silver, but it also could be tax liens or storage facilities or partnerships or even a franchise business. Now these accounts, these self-directed IRAs, Solo Ks, QRPs, these are not something that your Fidelities or Charles Schwabs or Vanguards or TD Ameritrades, etc., the list goes on, the popular names out there. These are typically not going to be offered by those organizations, those people you deal with there. There's other organizations, other custodians, as we call them, who can provide this account to you, and some that are more full service that can help you a lot along the way. In the last show, we talked with Damian Lupo. His organization, being more of a full service organization, can help you with the process from beginning to end, beginning with the rollover and then ending with the destination of where you want your investment. Once you get into the QRP or Solo K or self-directed IRA, where do you want the investment to land? Now, they don't make the investment selection for you, but they get everything set up so that you can do so the right way. The investment selection is yours. In this show, we talk about real estate assets like industrial parks or buildings and retail and restaurants and what I invest in, which is multifamily apartment buildings and communities. So that's what I know a whole lot about and can confidently guide you in. If you wanted to invest in a franchise business, then perhaps a conversation with a franchisee for that business is a good conversation to have, or the licensor or the owner of that franchise or brand. The list goes on and on. There's lots of investments that you can choose from once you take control using a self-directed IRA, a Solo K, or Solo 401k, we'll call it, and the QRP. Now, of these three options, the self-directed IRA, the Solo 401k, and the QRP, these plans can use pre-tax dollars or be Roth or after-tax dollars. Of these three options, the Solo K or the Solo 401k is for business owners, or specifically business owners with no full-time employees other than the business owner and their spouse. The Solo 401k allows you to contribute in two ways, both as an employee and then as the employer, because you're both, right? You can provide your contribution as an employee, just like you would if you were hired by a different employer who offers a 401k, and then as the employer. Profit sharing or other distributions could be directed to the Solo 401k. Together, this extends way beyond the contribution limits of a typical 401k. So what do you need to do? Your 401k, your 403b, from a prior employer or a current employer, all or a portion of it, it needs to roll over to a self-directed IRA so you can have more control of your retirement. If you have an IRA already from one of those financial institutions like the Fidelities, the Schwabs, the Vanguards, etc., on and on, even your local bank might offer an IRA, you want that rolled over to a self-directed IRA as well, or QRP, or something that gives you more control. If you didn't listen to the last show where we had Damian Lupo on the show, go back and listen to it, episode 16. That show and this show go somewhat hand in hand. That show gives you some of the options that I talked about today that have more control. More control for you to take control of your retirement funds or your retirement account. I hope you enjoyed this show, and if you have questions, let me know. I'm at neelyrealty.com/engage. That's NILEE realty.com/engage. You'll find an option in the podcast section to click the button to ask a question or leave a comment. If you did find this show helpful and you think it'll be helpful to others, forward or share it with them, and I'll see them and you back here next time as we continue to unwrap just how attainable real estate investing is to you.
You have been listening to the It's Attainable Real Estate Investing Show, sharing transparent knowledge on investing and the powerful impact real estate investing can have on your wealth and lifestyle. Follow or subscribe to the show using your favorite podcast app so you'll know firsthand when a new show is released, or visit neelyrealty.com/podcast and see the show there. That's NILEE realty.com/podcast.